So, welcome to the Dwarven Tavern. My name is Casper, and I have played D&D for more than 20 years. I've GM seriously for around 10. I am an Adventures League author and organizer of my local town's Adventures League community. I also enjoy rambling about D&D with my friends. I've decided to try and record and turn it into a podcast because maybe someone else could gain use of these ramblings. Today we'll be rambling about feats that we want to be better, why we find them lackluster, and how we will try and improve them without making them overpowered or unbalanced. And today I am joined by Martin Akto, who's my younger brother. We've played Dungeon Dragons or some kind of weird homebrew amalgamation for on and off for almost 32 years. Um, he is also a game master at my local Adventures League community. He is an Adventures League author with 5 published adventures, which we have published together. So, Martin,
Yes,
welcome to the Dwarven Tavern.
thank you. Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
I hope you enjoy the atmosphere in the tavern, and remember to open a tab at the bar.
Of course, so far the beer is a bit thin though.
So, anything you want to add to this introduction?
Nah, I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, started with Hero Quest and now we're here.
It's not started from the bottom because that was definitely also one of the
Oh,
highlight.
that was one of the peaks.
Yeah.
I played 4th edition.
um, so, as I said, introduction, we're talking about feats today that we want to be better or find lackluster or maybe make more logical sense. And the one you've brought one feat with you, and I've brought one feat with me. And we'll start with yours, as you are the guest. And when you proposed this feat for me, I definitely looked at it and was like, yes, that's definitely a prime subject for this.
Yes,
Because it
yes it is.
has issues that I would say makes it at least clunky.
Yes.
So if you would tell us what your feat is, what it does, and yeah, present it.
Let me start out by saying that I love this feat. That I have taken it on multiple characters, even though I find it lackluster. But that's mainly because there's so much potential when you read it through, and then when you understand it, you find out, oh, it doesn't have the potential I thought it had. So I've decided to bring Eldritch Adept along, which is, of course, this nice feat from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything that lets you learn an Eldritch invocation without necessarily being a warlock. Um, the prerequisite is spellcasting or pact magic feature. Your invocation, if it has any tied saving throw or anything, it is tied to your choice: intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. That's pretty great in my to my mind. And if and here's the caveat: if the invocation has a prerequisite of any kind, you can only choose that invocation if you are a warlock that meets the prerequisite. And then there's, of course, that every time you gain a level, you can select another invocation, just pretty much as warlocks do with invocations anyway.
That's actually also one of this even with this stipulation, this feat is great for a warlock because it gives them an extra invocation.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I actually have a point as to why this feat sucks for warlocks coming later. But yeah, I don't know if we should start in the slow end or if I should just jump straight out into my biggest and main gripe with it.
Well, we're rambling, so start whatever you want.
Okay,
Build
well,
up or
rambling.
just hit us hard. Yeah, your choice.
Okay, so let's start slow.
Really
You must have,
build up the tension.
yeah, build up the hate. So you must have spellcasting or pack magic to get it, and I'm sure why. Because okay, some of them kind of grants you some. Well, they do grant you some amount of magical power, but it's warlock based, it's pact based, it's an invocation granted by. Even the feat is kind of flavored this way because you're studying occult law. So why can't my, let's say, rogue, who's not an arcane trickster, suddenly have devil sight or cast disguise self at will from Mask of Many Faces? Why do I need to have spellcasting or pact magic? It kind of wastes a lot of sweet potential because you have to dip in a multi class to another spellcasting class before you can take this feat. Then, so I just think there's a lot of utility builds for martial classes or at least non-spellcasting classes. That's just not, um, and that's a waste in my opinion. Um, and then I thought, okay, but what if I took like, hey, shadow monks? They get the ability to cast darkness and short range teleport and stuff like that. That's kind of like spellcasting. Maybe that counts. So I checked the FAQ, and hey, monks, shadow monks, has been FAQ'd to counter spellcasters for attunement to items, not for prerequisites to feat. They did not FAQ this at the same time. So they count as spellcasters one place but not the other.
Mm.
So if you're going by rules as written, even though you can technically cast some spells from a class feature or from a feat, you can you can't take this one. Because what I've wanted to do for some quite some time is to take some martial class. Let's just say a monk. Monks are known for being fisticuff types of people who likes to get up and close and personal. But what if I took Magic Initiate and got an Eldritch Blast, and then I took an Invocation to make you come near me so I could punch you in the face? Well, I can't do that because I'm not a spellcaster, even though I can cast Eldritch Blast from my Magic Initiate feat. So that's that's just I want that build so bad, but I can't have it. Of course, this is coming from me playing mostly Adventures League because in a home game, I'm pretty sure most teams would be like, "Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Of course, you can be a Eldritch Blasting monk.
Yeah,
Donuts."
yeah. I'll definitely allow it in my games.
Yeah, do you want to spend two feats on doing the opposite of what your class is designed to do? Yeah, go for it. You do you. I mean, that's the kind of thing that if I had a player that said I want to take two feats to do literally the opposite of what makes me good, yeah, sure, fine, do that. um,
Well, there's also another solution here. That's not playing a monk, but
I know.
that's a whole other kind of worms. But I see
Yeah,
your point. Why is there this hidden or double prerequisite? Um,
because it's just I just if I can cast Eldritch Blast, I should be able to take a feat that empowers Eldritch Blast. And that's actually my biggest gripe because you can't. If you can cast Eldritch Blast from any other source than being a warlock, cannot take any of the invocations that requires you to have Eldritch Blast because it says if the invocation has a prerequisite of any kind, you can choose the invocation only if you're a warlock.
yeah, I don't see the point here. Also, if either you could maybe keep in the if it has a prerequisite, be a warlock, but then listen the other parts of it. But then there's also it's yeah, see, if there were that if there weren't that prerequisite, it would open up a lot of utility to a lot of different builds.
Exactly.
There's still some well, you do require. spellcasting and pact magic, there's still some good abilities you can get from this feat without being
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
warlock.
Absolutely,
Like you
absolutely.
can cast mage armor at will. You can
Yes,
speak.
and I have a point about that. This guy's self, Eyes of Runekeeper. You can read any text.
Speak with
Uh,
animals.
false life at will.
The
Uh,
beguiling influence, proficiency in deception, persuasion.
oh no, that's bad.
Uh,
That's actually bad. And here, let me tell you why.
yeah, sure.
Take skill feed instead. Take the skill feed, get
Yeah,
free
yeah. Right.
of your
If you
choice
want the flavor,
proficiency.
then this is
Yeah, yeah, but
yeah,
it's just why did you make this feat so limited and then have some of the options be worse than taking another feat?
yeah.
I get that for the warlock build, where it's intended for you as a warlock to take this invocation not by a feat but from your class progression. Sure, it's fine. It's a great invocation. Uh, I might have put it on one of my warlocks. Not sure at this moment, but as an option for this feat, it sucks. Take another feat.
There's definitely a, but there's also Devil's Sight, which is always good, almost any build.
Yeah, I'd take this feat on any character
The
just to get Devil's Sight,
the
pretty
Eldritch
much.
Mind, uh, invocation, where you have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain
Oh yeah,
concentration. Very good. But you
but
can
again,
take
that's
the
actually
that doesn't
take Warcaster.
true.
Just take Warcaster.
Yeah.
It's a better feat for it.
Um, then there's also but again, if you want the flavor of making some kind of pact,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually the most fun one of all the invocations that you are able to take without being a warlock is the Thief of Five Fates. Uh,
Yes.
because you do not, it does not have any prerequisite
No, it does not.
other than the
I
Eldritch
hate this
Adept
one.
feat, but it makes you able to cast Bane using your warlock spell slots.
Yeah,
So you can
which you don't
technically
have.
take it, even if you're not a warlock, but you can't use it.
Nope.
That's a bit, but that's maybe that's a sign that the invocation was made before anyone had even thought of this feat.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I don't. And that's just one of those things where it's just okay. This one doesn't make sense anyway. But maybe this invocation should have been errata or something to have prerequisite being like level one, because on the in the core invocation list it says in the top that anytime it says like you need to be level 5 or something, it means you need to be level 5 warlock to take this invocation. And I think this one just needed it to say level 1. um, but yeah, it was made before the feat, so it makes sense that it isn't there. And
Well, could also
the
just
later invocations actually got the prerequisite to say you need to be warlock level 3, and not just level 3. So that also makes it so that if you're just reading the invocations as they are right now, you take the feat, you look on D&D Beyond, you look through the list, and it just says you need to be level 5. Oh well, I'm level 5. Oh yeah, but I'm warlock level. Not necessarily, but yeah. But I think a lot of the trouble with this feat is that I don't think the designers have been clear on their rules as intended. This feat, uh, and I think they managed to make some rules as written, which kind of makes you stumble going for what they intended. Because I've been reading a lot of other people's comments about this, and some people are like, "Oh, I interpret it this way," and it's just like you can't. You literally cannot interpret it in this favorable way that you're doing, because it says if it has a prerequisite of any kind, then it just flat out closes any interpretation. Again, a DM can say, I don't care about that. Fine, but rules as written and for Adventures League play, you can't interpret it like you want to.
we there's a bit more bound here, so that's also why the feat should be more better designed from the get go, so you don't
Yeah,
get all this. But we've both played D&D for a lot of years and different editions. 5e is not the first edition that has unclear feats.
No, that's true, but I actually feel like some feats are very straightforward. Some feats are designed in a way to prevent abuse, and some feats are very open. And I just feel like this feat has been over designed to prevent abuse.
It is
Because if they just opened it up for everything, I can see a lot of ways to abuse this, and they've just tried to close that by making it substantially weaker.
yeah.
It just has a lot of limited options when you have all of these grand invocations to choose from, and then you just, yeah, no, you have to be a warlock. So actually, and we've had this discussion before that a lot of 5th edition doesn't want you to multiclass. I feel like this feat wants me to multiclass. Be like, hey, you want agonizing blast? Just dip one level into warlock.
Yeah, I definitely see what you mean here, but it's like that. Okay, so if you want this, you have to do this prereq, and this prereq, and this prereq.
Yeah.
There may be one too many prereqs there, but well, you see
Yeah.
my point. Um,
Yes.
where it's like, okay, we're so scared of abuse, let's stop dip it, the nerfing. Um,
Yeah.
so if that's how what you don't like about it, how would you design this feat then, and see? Okay,
Well,
how can I make with how can I remake or redesign the feed? Fix just maybe change it a little bit where you don't at the same time open up for potentially abuse.
the first thing I'd do would be to pretty much just open up and say that any invocation you meet the prerequisite for without being a warlock are also open to you.
Also, what?
Because
Sorry.
without also being a warlock. So, okay, so there's an agonizing blast prerequisite you need to have Eldritch Blast. That's open. Because the only invocations that do not require you to be a warlock while also having any prerequisite at all requires you to have Eldritch Blast. So that's just open that. Then I'm actually satisfied because then you can use your 2 feats to create a agonizing blast monk or Eldritch spear or get them closer to stuff. Um, because as I said before, the invocations that otherwise has prerequisite, they either state you need to be this character level, which we know from the core rules means you have to be this level of warlock. So, for example, the one that lets you cast alter self at will, you still need to be warlock level a lot. I think it's 15 or something. Yeah, 15th level, master of myriad forms. So it says prerequisite 15th level, still need to be a warlock. All the others, you just need Eldritch Blasts. Or then they say, like, Practical Blade feature or anything like that. Of course, they're close to because you're not a warlock. You can't get these pack boosts. So
Yeah.
that's actually like the first step, easy fix to get it where I want it to be.
Yes.
But if I should just fix it without actually altering how it is,
Just
oh
so
yeah,
the first fix was changing so that if you fulfill the prereq of the invocation, you are able to
yeah,
pick that invocation.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that pretty much only opens the Eldritch Blast once.
Yeah.
And bards can use their magical secrets to gain Eldritch Blast as well, without having to take Magic Initiate, and they count as a spellcaster, so they can take this feat anyway. I mean, if I want to make a bard and spend and waste my magical secret at 18th level on getting Eldritch Blast, what DM wouldn't let me do it?
And Adventures Legion.
Oh well, I can still use it on Eldritch Blast, right? But yeah, of
Uh,
course, I can. Yeah, I can empower it.
yeah, true.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think the best fix that that would improve the feat vastly without changing what it is would be that you just change the wording. Be like, you can take any invocation from this list.
Oh, so you give a
You actually
specific
limit it.
list of invocations.
Yeah. And I know if you do that, then you kind of bar yourself from any future invocations that'll come out. But it just, I mean, you can just errata that later on.
Yes, but
It's not like they don't do that anyway.
yeah, but you could also, when new feats come out, new invocations come out, they could make a little apostrophe, what's it called,
Yeah, yeah.
parenthesis.
This
That,
invocation
that
can be taken with the Eldritch Adept feat.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of workarounds around that. You could errata this one. You could
Yes.
do that. That's I really do not see that as a big problem.
No, because that's pretty much what they've done with all the expanded spell lists when Tasha's came out.
Yeah.
All of the spellcasting classes. Here's more spells
Yeah.
on your spell.
Optional class features. You can pick these spells. Boom.
Yeah. Just and I feel like that it's just such a elegant solution to just be like, we admit that this is a very limited selection, so here's your limited selection. And then, of course, have the addendum that, hey, if you're Warlock, just pick any you meet the. And that's it. I'd be much happier with this feat because it's honest about what it is.
Because it's not a bad feat. Uh,
No, it's not. I love
but
it.
yeah, it just has some, as I said before, some clunkiness about it.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm being lied to when I'm reading it. As I said at the beginning, I was reading it and being like, oh, hey, I can make this build. Then I understood the feat. No, I cannot. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So which fix are you more inclined to? The list or changing so if you fulfill the prereq of invocation, you can pick it.
Well, in my dream, I want the first fix. I want the one where if I have Eldritch Blast, if I meet the prerequisite, I can take the invocation.
Yeah,
Because the prerequisite just kind of evens themselves out otherwise.
yeah, so you want to remove the spellcaster or pack magic feature prereq on the feat.
Oh yes, also
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
that,
of
and
course.
then you want
That's
to change
that's gone anyway.
yeah,
That's gone.
and
Absolutely,
that
get it away.
yeah, opening up some utility for some of the marshals where okay, Fiendish Vigor, False Life, that's very nice. Dark Vision,
Hey,
um,
Rogue who has mask of many faces. Hooray!
yeah, a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah,
And I do like feats that increases my utility. I am of the opinion that a feat needs to either give you utility or something that works all the time, or if it puts you in a niche, be very good at that niche.
yeah,
One of my prime example is Great Weapon Master. Doesn't give you
yeah,
utility. It doesn't make you good all the time, but when it comes up, it's very good
yeah. You feel
and very fulfilling.
so good. Yep.
It's one of
I just
those.
hate that.
Yeah,
I just hate that on my barbarian who has great weapon master. I've just been critting or as downing an enemy that grants you the bonus action
yeah,
attack.
killing an enemy or critting.
Yeah, that's only ever come up the same round when I've started my rage, so I don't have the bonus action, and it's horrible.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
But like Great Webmaster is one of those. If you use a video game term, it's one of the buttons you really like pressing.
Yes.
Um,
Kind of like sharpshooter, really.
yeah, well, it's basically the same feat.
Yeah.
Basically, not.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
sharpshooter also gives you the you just ignore cover and long distance,
yeah.
which is great.
Um. Yeah. So remove the first
Remove the
prereq.
spellcasting or pack magic prerequisite,
Yeah, and then
and then open up that if you meet the prerequisite of invocation, you take the invocation.
yeah.
Or you can take it. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds. In my head, it doesn't sound unreasonable or overly broken. Um, maybe someone who knows, who can think of better combos than I can maybe find it.
yeah.
But
Of course there's options, but there's always options. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, and
there's
it's
always someone who want to break it, and I mean, I feel like this is just another drop in the ocean of possible ways, without being like this is the only way to ever build a
yeah.
character.
There's even with this, I feel there's easier ways to break the game if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of things that's not so easy to break the game with, I think we could look at the field I've chosen.
Yes.
And it's from Tasha's, and it's of a line that I really like in general. But this is like the if you've seen the meme with the free head dragon heads, there's the two cool heads, and then there's the dirt. This is the
Yeah.
dirt face,
Yes, it is.
and the feat is the slasher feat. Of course, the other two was is Piercer and Crusher.
Two
Um,
great feats. A plus
yeah,
would take again.
it's three feats that maybe not be almost overpowered, but really leans into the I am good with this kind of weapon fantasy, and which I
Yeah.
really enjoy. Um, and there's something about the slasher just when you look at it, and you go like, huh, something seems off here. Um,
I'd say
the
oh, the stream paused.
oh, I'm not sure
Yeah.
what happened.
Great.
So,
We're back.
something about this feed seems off. Um,
Yeah.
where let's first talk about what the feat does.
Yeah.
The feat slasher. You have learned where to cut to have the greatest results, granting you the following benefits. First of all, you increase your strength or dexterity to a maximum of 20. Half feats are always nice. Um,
Yep.
then, once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack that deals damage, you can reduce the speed of the target by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. And when you
Mm,
score a critical hit that deals slashing damage to a creature you grievously wounded, and until the start of your next turn, the target has disadvantage on all attack rolls.
that's pretty dope.
And my first note is the critical part is very nice. Also, it leads into the fantasy. I've slashed you an open wound, and
Yep.
therefore you have hard time focusing on your attack because you're in pain.
I have grievously wounded you.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice fantasy and a cool
Yep.
mechanical benefit, definitely.
Mm,
But what you would call like the bread and butter of the feat,
yeah.
the ability that's always on, because critical hits off usually, unless you're a champion fighter or something else I've forgotten about, it's only a 5%
Technique.
chance. And then, of course, there's advantage and disadvantage, but that's a whole other.
Yeah.
As standard, it's a 5% chance. So 5% of the chance you get this nice ability. You get the half feet all the time, which is also very nice. But then the selling point of the feat,
Yes.
where if you hit a target, you reduce their speed by 10 feet.
Yeah.
While
Who
while
cares?
while not extremely bad, it
No.
feels
That's
off. If you compare it to the other feats, Crusher and Piercer, you have the Piercer feat. You pierce their skin, making you able to re-roll a die because you go in and hit stab something that really
yeah.
hurts. Or the Crusher feat, you hit them so hard with a big blunt object that they get knocked back 5 feet.
Yeah.
Cool, very nice, and
Sure.
very cool.
Nice. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's pretty
Then
pretty fucking cool.
then there's slashing them so they move slower.
In melee combat.
Very often in melee combat, I Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that deals slashing damage at a range.
No, well,
But
I think my point with melee damage was more, or melee combat was more like,
yeah,
hey, when I'm in melee combat, most oftentimes the opponent is also in melee combat
yeah,
with me.
yeah.
You don't want to move.
Yeah, then of course there's some stuff like the glaive, but you still don't really want them to move away from you, and or or to not be able to follow you. And then if you have the um, if you are one who wants to hit them and run away like a rogue,
Yeah,
um, you have you can. There's other options or better options. If you want to go into melee, slash people and go away again. If you're a rogue or a goblin, you can hide as a bonus action. You can take the mobile feat, um,
yeah. Oh, yeah, mobile is pretty great.
which is
And if it's
which
because you want, if it's because you don't want people to get away from you, if you want to stay
sentinel
near you,
feat.
take the goddamn sentinel feat, because
Yeah,
that's my main point with
yeah.
this feat. It's just that
And
you could get so much more out of this if it weren't just 10 feet. I know it's each attack you, or well, once per turn when you hit with an attack, but it's still like 10 feet doesn't really give much,
there's
unless of course you stack it with spirit guardians or
yeah,
anything like that.
so that but in general there's just better options.
Yeah,
And
not
also the flavor. In my head, the reason you remove the 10 feet is because you slice the leg.
yeah, you
Uh,
hamstring them.
yeah, exactly. And well, a cool idea. I just like, why do I want to flavor all my attacks as if I'm going for the legs?
Yeah, no,
So like, okay, I'm fighting this halfling. I'm a Goliath, going for the leg because no.
just kick him instead.
Yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah,
definitely, especially when you compare it to the others, there's something where you're like, huh, this could be better.
yeah. I mean, if you just took like the pierce of feature and be like, hey, you can roll your attack dice whenever you make slashing attack. I I feel like that was better than this. But
Yeah,
then again, we're kind of sort of over for the just take savage attacker. So
yeah. I would say,
though
in,
that's a full feat, right?
yeah, I think so. But there's still there's needs to be something because I like the idea of the grievously wound. Like you slash them so you can give a wound.
Yeah.
I'm more inclined to either give them, say like when you hit them, you add your proficiency bonus to the damage. Though that might scale
Yeah.
a bit too much. So then, well, to a +5. That's 5e has great benefits from static
Yeah.
bonuses, but then you also can just like
But you also don't multiply the static bonus on a crit
yeah,
hit.
because that's the other thing is
So
I was like
yeah.
add 1d4,
Yeah.
which again if
Oh
you
yeah.
do a critical hit, it would go to 2d4.
Yeah.
Maybe then like say when your um, when your proficiency bonus increases. So if you have proficiency bonus of 2, it's 1d4, 3, 1d6, so it's a gradual scale. Um, of course, then you roll 2d10 extra damage on a crit. Uh,
Yeah.
four,
That
four,
might be a bit too
four,
much
four,
for
six,
half feat.
8,
Yeah.
10, 12. Oh, that's actually 12. But that, yeah, that maybe is a bit. So I think I'm more inclined to like just the flat bonus,
Yep.
an extra
Or
5.
or just keep it on the four. Really, I think that also be favorable because okay, you have the flat bonus, but that never changes. Not even by crits, but the 1d4 that that would give an extra benefit on the crits as well as you grievously wound them. Right. So, I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice.
I think it would be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Um, like you deal this little extra bit of damage. That's
Yeah.
always active. And yeah, it may be a bit overpowered at high and low levels, but then it gets scaled down. But a lot of things are overpowered at lower levels. Like again, the great weight great weapon master feat.
Yeah.
There's
But again,
definitely
most feats are designed to be open from off level,
mm,
not from first level.
yeah,
And that's a whole nother discussion with about variant human and what's the other one? Custom lineage.
custom lineage. Yeah,
Yep, yep. Um, which has the potential to like grant
yeah. So
abilities that would only ever be open for level 4 characters otherwise.
I've definitely had some. I want this feat to be better, but I'm not sure if simply more damage is the right way to go. Um,
Well, no, I when I saw the slasher feat and also again this is one of those where I read it and I was like, oh, I want this on a character. Then I understood the feat and I was like, mm, probably not. I was also thinking back to some of the weapon feats in 3.5 edition, the weapon focus, weapon specialization, which pretty much just grants flat bonus to hits and to damage and stuff like that.
they're
And
basically the fighting styles of the.
yeah, yeah, they
Yeah,
are. Um, but you select these feats for a specific weapon, which is what flavors them closer to the slasher feat. And I just feel like if you had taken the slasher and like, hey, you are specialized and focused with slashing weapons, so you get a +1 for both to hit and to damage, or you get a plus 2 to hits with slashing weapons, kind of like the archery fighting style, which gives you +2 to on ranged attacks. But I don't feel like that would be too much either. It's just and +1 to hit or +2 to hit for that matter. That's also is nice.
oh, that's it's very good in the bounded accuracy world of 5e
Yeah,
because the ACs
but I
that
mean you.
do not go that much up.
But again, you if you can get it from the archery fighting style on ranged attacks, I don't really see why taking another feat would be so bad to get the same bonus. Of
Yeah,
course, there's some balance since it's one of three effects, right? But
yeah.
it,
I've also just thought of something like the braces of archery, which
yeah,
adds a plus flat
exactly.
+2, and that's not overpowered at a low level. So maybe the flat bonus is the way to go with the
Yeah,
2 to 5.
yeah.
Yeah, and
It
because the
wouldn't be.
other thing I thought of was again, I was like, oh, okay, maybe if you like you hit them with the slashing, you open wounds, and it hampers them to attack. And I was like, oh wait, that's the other part of the
Yeah, that's
feat.
yeah.
That's the good part.
But then again, you could kind of sort of be like, what if you, what if you switched it around? What if
um,
that when you make a slashing attack once per turn, uh, you can grant disadvantage on an attack roll or something like that for the other one. Maybe they have to make a save or something against it, but
I think that
make that the bread and butter.
yeah, I think that would be too good for a half feat.
Well, then remove the strength and dex increase. I think this have a lot more potential if you could like once per turn impose disadvantage, and then instead of on all attack rolls, make it on one attack roll. Just just make it a lot more manageable. Give them a save, make it on one attack roll, but you get this effect every once per turn when you hit with a slashing attack,
Yeah,
and then when you crit someone, then they get the speed reduced to 0 until the start of your next turn.
I just had a quick look at the crusher feat because I couldn't remember if it also had the stat increase.
Oh yeah,
I've just found out the crusher feat is actually better than I thought because it does not
that's
increase.
true.
It's not strength for dexterity. It's strength or
Yeah, it's
constitution,
yeah.
and constitution is just always good.
Crusher is definitely the big brother of these three feats. in my opinion.
Uh, I am
When you
inclined to
when you
say that objectively you may be correct, but my favorite is the piercer.
well, that also it lets you re-roll damage dice to get more damage. It lets you roll another die to get more damage. But Crusher has the opportunity to let everyone else attack this target with advantage.
Yeah, Crusher can also work on a Genie Warlock, which I also like. If
Ooh,
they have the Earth,
ooh,
then they deal
yeah, the Dow.
bludgeoning damage.
That's a good.
But
So if you score a critical hit that deals bludgeoning damage to a creature, so Eldritch Blast with
see,
the bludgeoning damage.
yeah, it'll also like hit them with the Eldritch Blast, deal the bludgeoning damage, push them 5 feet away. Um,
Yeah,
and then you have also and you increase your Constitution at the same time. What's not to like?
yeah, I take that.
And this is now a classic example of when we ramble, we sometimes hit a tangent and then we go.
Yep.
But it's also very important. That's the thing about the slasher feed. You can't talk about the slasher feed, in my opinion, without comparing it to the crusher and the piercer.
No,
You have to
because that
keep the around the
yeah,
same balance level.
because if we only had the slasher feat, not the two others, I don't think we'd feel this underwhelming about it. I think we'd just be like, oh, this sounds kind of neat. Some people are going to like this. But right now, because we have the two others, I at least feel like, why is this so much worse than the other two? Why are they so much better?
Mm. But it's also funny if you go to like D&D Beyond and look at the comments on the slasher feed.
Yeah, I did.
There's actually not a lot there. I was a bit wet because one of them was like, "This is OP," and I was like, "Why is this overpowered?" And I see he has responded because think of Champion Fighter, and
Yeah.
the Champion Fighter is still 18 to 20 crit at best, right?
Uh, yeah, I believe it goes to 18 in the highest levels. Can't remember. But
Uh,
for
yeah,
quite a
18
long
20.
time, yeah, quite a long time, it's 19.
So as standard, the best you can get is a 15% chance for that part of it to activate. And
Yeah. Again, champion fighter with the crusher feat. So everyone gets advantage. A lot.
so yeah, and now slashing weapons are both those slashing and bludgeoning follow the same die progression on the weapons.
Yeah, it's piercing that doesn't really.
Yeah, piercing is one behind.
Yeah.
Um, so
Mm.
I think it would be a decent feat if you just added that little extra damage, like show you make the
Yeah.
cuts and bruises, and you go. We've all tried, like even just a paper cut. It's that those little cuts they're really
Stings.
annoying. They
Yeah.
take a bit of your focus. So make him do psychic damage. No, no,
Probably not.
no, 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 no.
just imagine going up to the barbarian with a sword and just chopping at him, and he's like, haha, oh no, that hurt.
Oh no, paper cut.
Oh, I'm not immune to psychic damage or resistant to psychic damage. Please no hurt me. Even better to barbarians are going to get scared.
Well, they could just play a GIF or a Kalashtar.
Yeah, true. Now.
Oh, sorry, not GIF. Gitsarai or GIF Yankee.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh right, they actually.
yeah, they are
Separate.
different. Yeah,
These rules are new right now.
yeah, if no one can guess, this is recorded just around when Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse became accessible to all
Yeah.
as its own book.
Future proofing.
Yeah. Future.
Yeah, I mean future proofing the podcast.
Yeah.
When we're recording this.
So, like,
Hello from the past.
where's this fourth wall everyone's talking about? Um,
Mine's broken.
so, we need to agree on something here. The die or the proficiency bonus? Ooh, it's a tough
It's it's very tough. I think it's very tough because the die would be great for the critical hits, but I think I'm going to say that I want the proficiency bonus to damage
one. The proficiency.
because what? Sorry.
No, it's just,
Oh,
I was just
yeah,
repeating.
proficiency. Yeah, proficiency or flat bonus, whatever. But um, because the D4 would increase with critical hits, but we already get an advantage from critical hits with this feat. So that's why I'm going with the flat bonus or the proficiency.
Yes, because you already get another bonus on the. If you get a critical hit, there's another thing,
Yeah,
so you don't
yeah,
get an extra die.
yeah.
That could see that makes sense. Definitely. Um, bonus to damage. So it's actually rather simple. Simple solutions that we've come up with to both feats.
Yeah, it
It's, a,
is. It doesn't take a
it's
lot.
just like that. Some feats just take a little bit of tweaking, while other feats may take a bit more. Um,
Yeah.
I can definitely say listen to other episodes of the podcast if you want to hear complete redesign of some feats. um,
Did you have Rasmus in here?
maybe. I can't. I think we redesigned one feat. I'm not sure. But if you want to know, you could listen to that episode. Um, because there's
Link in the description below.
well, I'll find it on the.
Find it on the channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I am not again dating these episodes, showing that it's in its infancy. I am not sure what the upload schedule will be yet, but so maybe you've already heard Rasmus if you've listened to Martin. Maybe the other way around. Who knows? Again, tangents, ramblings. Woo.
Yeah.
It's-
Damn you, YouTube
and actually,
or other platforms.
I'm actually impressed with how little we've moved off tangent. You and I have a habit of going off tangents.
Yes, but I've been very focused on destroying the fourth wall.
And now your focus is dwindling.
Yes, it
so
is. Look at this hole in the fourth wall behind me. This is a hole. You might call it a door. I call it a hole.
the big doggy door. Um,
Yeah.
so, um, so to summarize, we've spoken about the Eldritch Adept feat and how it was maybe gatekept by a prerequisite or two, which felt like it was too much gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Probably to prevent abuse. And we talked
But it's
about
still a good feed.
still a decent feed. So we talked about how some parts of it should be changed. First of all, remove the prerequisite of spellcaster or pact magic, because it was a bit too much gatekeeping, and the utility of the feat could really improve a lot of different kind of builds, not just the spellcasters,
Absolutely.
without it going too overboard. And again, to keep it from not going too much overboard, we still want it to be that if you meet that the prerequisites of the invocations should still be there and accountable. But if you meet the prerequisite, you can pick that invocation. You don't need to be a warlock if it has a prerequisite. So Just remove the part. If it has a prerequisite, you have to be a warlock. Go.
Yeah, just keep that you have to meet the prerequisites.
Yeah, because as it is now, you may need to double dip to be able to get it. And while I like multi-classing, it's just not always the right kind of flavor that a build needs. And then the other part we talked about was the slasher feat. How it fell. Yeah, I used to talked about the three dragon heads, and it was the derpy dragon compared to its two cousins, slasher and crusher.
Russian Piercer.
Yes, of
Use
course.
Slasher.
Yeah, yeah. Crusher and piercer. Uh, because not only did we feel that the speed reduction made it feel like you had to flavor your attacks as going for the feet, which didn't always make sense. But also that mechanically it felt a bit off that you reduce speed where 90% of the time this would come up, you would probably just be locked in a melee battle. So there were no benefit from them having their speed reduced.
Nope.
And if you wanted to have the speed reduced on them, there are better feats.
Exactly.
So instead, well, some might say we went a bit boring solution, but we still think it's a good solution. Where first of all we removed the speed reduction, and then we wanted to add a little bit of extra damage, which a damage bonus that what's it called?
Follows proficiency.
That follows proficiency. So if your proficiency
Yeah.
bonus is +3, you'll get a +3 damage once per turn.
Yeah.
That's to not make it too much. We also discussed the possibility of it being a d4 dice instead of proficiency bonus, but as you already get an extra bit of goodies if you land a critical hit, we decided, let's just do the flat bonus. You don't get an extra bonus.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, we feel good. We feel happy about that.
Yeah.
And
I'd take that feat.
yeah, anything. So, as our time here in the tavern draws near, you can see that they have already started putting up the chairs.
Well, the beer got better.
Anything you want to add?
Oh no,
Or
I don't
want to
think so.
say?
I think we were pretty much covered a lot of previous grievances. Well, actually, I think I have like one major grievance about feet, but that's mostly for Adventures League play. I want to have more enemies that have feats, which doesn't really happen that much in Adventures League because we are pretty much confined to existing stat blocks.
I could add.
We can.
So,
Sorry?
maybe we should have you back here, and then we can talk about enemies we feel should have a feat. At
Yeah.
what feat?
Yeah, something like that.
That could.
Because it's just there's so many feats where I just when I look at it, I'm just like, oh, I want to throw this in my player's face, and then remember, right? No,
Yeah.
can't.
Again, this is probably also coming from our background, which is a lot of 3.5,
Yes.
where everything got feats naturally,
Yes.
just by leveling up, and
Yeah. Throwing a monster in there who has either I think it's called Mighty Blow, which means that on its natural attacks it pushes back people without making a actual shove or bull rush attack. That's just great. Bull rush as part of your action, or as part of your attack, or when they have, I think it's powerful throw,
Yeah.
just yeet one of the players away.
yeah,
Goodbye.
and deal damage with it. Um,
Yep.
Also, the bull rush mechanic is was a more powerful version of shove.
a
Well,
lot,
yeah,
a lot more powerful
not
because you actually had the option to
yeah.
like keep pushing and push into stuff and deal damage to them.
Just if someone here, if someone listened to this and wasn't knowledgeable about 3.5, I just wanted to
Yeah.
reiterate. Yeah, but with that, another good day's work here in the tavern. I hope you enjoyed your stay.
Yes, I did.
Um, Maybe want to be back. Anything you want to shout out before you?
Yeah, not anything you don't want to shout out as well, because I mean, again, as you mentioned, we published 5 Adventures League modules that can be played without being Adventures League, of course, but also in Adventures League. We have business cards with original art from our local artist Pernille. She's great. Um, yeah, right now we are making Feywild domain adventures, and it's great. And you should look us up on DM's Guild.
And
Go
if
on.
you go to the Dwarven Tavern YouTube channel, you can actually find a link in the banner to all of our
Hey,
published adventures.
awesome.
Um,
And we also have a Facebook page called CACMAC Author Collaboration,
I'll probably
or TTRPG Author Collective.
I'll
So that's also
probably put a link in somewhere.
link in the description below.
Yeah.
Don't
So
forget to like and subscribe. This is my channel.
stop! You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards.
Wait, are Wizards of the Coast watching? Oh.
Quick outro. Uh, so
I hate your feats. I mean,
uh,
wait,
so
sorry.
I want your feats to be better. Call me, I'll help.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and with that, I think we'll close here in the Dwarven Tavern. Remember to pay
Yeah.
your tab. And with that, thank you for joining us. And if you've been listening to this, thank you for listening.